In this video, I'm going to talk about pack CLI command named as pack env. Now, what is this command does is like it contains command related to Dataverse environment operations. Now, with pack CLI version 1.32 onwards, pack env replaces the older command named as pack org. Now, pack env has various set of parameters. So there is a who parameter, list, fetch, list settings, update settings, and select. So pack env who displays information about the current Dataverse organization. Pack env list all the Dataverse organization the user has access to. Pack env fetch performs fetch XML query against a specific Dataverse table. Pack env list settings lists the environment settings. Pack env update settings updates the environment settings, and pack env select will select the default organization for the current authentication profile. Now select environment. So pack env select will select the default organization for the current authentication profile, and it displays the details. So as you see on the screen, once you select the environment, that environment will get selected, and any command you run against that environment's context will be taken into consideration while running the command. Pack env lists all the Dataverse organization the current user has access to. So in my case, I have listed down all the all the Power Platform environment in my tenant. List environment setting. Now this one is interesting. Pack env list dash settings list Dataverse environment settings. So we have around 459 settings in total as of June 2024. Now, what is an environment setting? Basically, it's like I would say, a configuration information for a specific environment. Now, one of the example would be like, say, when you create a new object, the schema name prefix is added as new. Now, if you want to change that, then you can go ahead and make those changes within this environment setting. So, one of the environment setting is schema name prefix. Now, like this, we have system user ID, tracking prefix, like which is like crm colon something. Okay, now I can make that change from here, and then that change will be propagated in the settings area. Similarly, I can have time separator, release wave name, Copilot feedback enabled. So these are the some of the settings which I have just listed down. Now I've just listed down 6 settings over here, but there are in all 459 settings. Now this is the screenshot which shows you the sum of the settings available within your specific Power Platform environment. Update environment setting. Now compared to list environment setting, will list down all the environment settings 459. But for pack env update settings, if you want to update say one of the setting, now here I'm updating the setting named as Copilot feedback enabled. Now I've if the value is set to true, I will make that value as false. So if you see this command, pack env update dash settings dash dash name Copilot feedback enabled dash dash value false. Environment who. So pack env who, value to which the setting should be updated to. So pack env who basically gives you a summary of information about your org ID, unique name, friendly name, org URL, user email, user ID, environment ID. So it gives you like summarized information, and also you can make this information appear in a JSON format if you do not like the tabular format as it is shown over here. So you can make use of JSON format, and it will give you the JSON object. So that's one more command like pack env fetch. So pack env fetch basically allows you to run a fetch XML statement. So if you write pack env fetch dash dash XML, and then in double quotes, if you give the fetch XML, then it will execute that fetch XML, and it will output the results in a tabular format as you see over here in the screen. Now, if you do not have a fetch XML directly in a raw format, you can put that file in a file format. You can take the text and put it in a file format, and then there is another syntax for it, pack env fetch dash dash xml file, and then you provide the path of that fetch xml, and then it will do the same thing. So run let's see this is an action. So let me go into the command line, Windows PowerShell, run as administrator, click on yes. Okay, so I'm in the PowerShell. Okay, now let me clear the screen. And let me zoom this a bit. Okay. So yes, so before we even start, I just need to check out what is the latest version of pack I'm running under. So pack, if you see, the version number is 1.32 over here, 1.32.8. Now this is the latest version. Now in case if you do not have the latest version, what you can do, you can just type in pack install latest, and then you will see the pack command getting executed. And in my case, it is already updated to the latest version, so it is not doing anything. But in your case, it may start updating your pack CLI build. Right. Now, in the start of the discussion, I mentioned to you that when this command pack env is the new command. Okay, it earlier it was named as pack org. Okay, so if I just type pack, if you see over here, you will see these many commands available as a pack perform as a part of pack CLI. Okay, so let me just show you this way. Yeah, so these are the set of commands which is available as a part of pack CLI 1.32. Now here you will we are going to talk about basically env. Okay, so we are going to talk about env command. Now earlier this command was called as org. Now if you see here, there is no mention of org, so that means org is going to get retired in the coming versions. Now env, now if I just type, what happens if I just type pack org? Okay, so if I type pack org, then it will still work, it will still list down the same sort of command parameters, but this is getting deprecated. Okay, so don't use pack org. If you want to use anything for environment iteration, then use pack env. Okay, so let me type in pack env. Now if you see pack env and pack org, the commands are almost similar. I think I would say it's same. Okay, so if you see pack org and if you see pack env, the command is same. Okay, so going forward, use pack env rather than using pack org. Okay, so that's about pack env, the starting part. Now if I want to see what all commands are available, I'll just type in pack env and then I'll start executing commands on basis of that. Now, before you even run this command, you need to first create an authentication profile. Now, if you do not know how to create an authentication profile, please have a look into the playlist of pack CLI. There I have created a separate video to configure the authentication profile. Now the authentication profile, if you want to see what authentication profiles currently exist, you just type pack auth list. Okay, in my case I've already added two authentication profile for two different environments. So one environment is Girish dev and second environment is Girish prod. Now, from an activity perspective, if you see over here, if you see the star, that indicates that Girish prod environment is the active one. Now, if I want to make Girish dev as active, I need to put the star over here. But how do I move the star from Girish prod to Girish dev? What I can do, I can say pack auth select dash dash index, and the index number for Girish dev is 1. Okay, so pack auth select dash dash index 1, and now the default authentication profile is Girish dev. Now if I again run the command pack auth list, then it will put the star in front of Girish dev. Okay, so that's my authentication profile. Now that's the active authentication. Now any command I run using pack env will follow Girish dev environment. Okay, so anything you run will be taken under the context of Girish dev. Okay, right. So let me clear the screen, and now if I just type pack env select, okay, pack env select dash dash environment. Now this is again a separate command. Now if you see over here, like if I just type pack auth list, okay, now if you see pack auth list, then you see that Girish dev is highlighted, right? Now let me run this command pack env select dash dash environment, and this time I will give the environment of say Girish prod. Okay, so I'll copy this and I'll put a space and then press enter. So now what happens, it is looking for this environment and it is validating that connection. And now if I run pack auth list, I will see that both the environment is now selected, right? One and two. Now, why one and two is selected? Because I have marked this Girish uh, prod environment as a default environment, and it's kind of universal. Okay. Now, this is all done. So I know what environment I will be querying against. So this is like a prod environment. So if I just type in pack env list now, then it will list down all the environments specific to my tenant. Okay, now this is like I have so many environment, it's more than I believe 10 plus environment, and it will list down all the environment, display name, environment id, environment url, and unique name. So pack in will list down all the environments. Then if I want to see the settings, okay, of the current environment, now if I just type pack env list dash settings, now this will list down all the uh, settings for that specific environment. So let's see what it has outputted. It has outputted more than 469 entries. Okay, so one of the example would be advanced lookup enabled. Now for this particular environment, if advanced lookup enabled, the value is nothing. Okay, now I can either mark it as yes or no, okay, or true or false, right? Now, similarly, I have activity type filter. It is yes. Allow entity only audit. Yes. Okay, so like this, I have so many settings. Allow web Excel export. Now it is set to yes. I can even mark this as no as well, right? Now, how do we edit this entire list settings? Now, you can't edit at once. You need to take one by one approach. So, what we are going to do is say we'll pick up one setting. Okay. So the latest topic is Copilot, right? So maybe I'll just pick up this one. Is Copilot feedback enabled? Now, answer is yes, right? So if I want to make this setting as false or no, then what I need to do is I need to use a command, right? So let me show you that command. So in order to see this, we have executed a command called as pack env list dash setting. So let me clear this up. So in order to update, I will just type in pack env update dash settings, and I need to put the name. Okay, so pack env update settings and dash dash name, and the name is copilot feedback enabled. Is copilot feedback enabled? That's one of the setting, and I'll put the value as it was yes. So I need to make it no. So let me put it as false. Okay, and now it will execute against that specific environment this command, and now it is telling that setting is copilot feedback updated successfully to false. Now if I run pack env list dash settings, and if I navigate to is copilot feedback, so let me navigate to is copilot feedback, scroll a bit, and if you see over here, is copilot feedback enabled? Now it is set to no. So this is how you can basically update each and every setting provided for the environment. Now then the next command would be pack env who. Now this will give you summarized information of the current environment. So it says connected to Girish Prod, organization information, org ID. It will give you a unique name, give you a friendly name, org URL, user email, user ID, environment ID. So if you want to get all the IDs of a specific environment, then this is the right command to use. Okay. Now, again, if you want this ID for some storage purpose in a JSON, then you can run this command pack env who, and put a like a switch dash dash JSON, and it should output the result in a JSON format. Okay, so now if you see over here, it has outputted the result in a JSON format. Now there is a last command which we will run, which is called as a fetch XML. Now in order to run the fetch XML, you need to have the fetch XML. So what is fetch XML? Fetch XML is basically an XML generated out of the view. Now, if you see this, I have a model driven app. Now, this is a world table. Now, this is a simple table. It has countries, capital, account, contact, and some other predefined field. Now, one of the view is active world. Now, if I want to generate a fetch XML, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into this view, and maybe I'll select active worlds view, and over here manage and share views. If I go to active worlds, if you see this three dot, click on it and say download fetch XML. Fetch XML.xml would be downloaded. You just say keep. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to this document, and I'm going to open this in maybe notepad. Now here, if you see, all the fetch XML statement is available over here. Okay. Now, if I want to use this in the command line, then one thing I need to do is first enclose this fetch XML in double quotes. Okay, and inner double quotes should be replaced with single quotes. So, in order to do that, what I'm going to first do is like replace all the double quotes with single quotes. So I'll do a Control H and find double quotes and replace it with single quotes, and I'll say replace all. Now what it has done, it has replaced all the double quotes with single quotes. And then I will put this fetch XML in a double quotes, and I'll copy this. Okay, so let's go into the command line again, and now just do a CLS and just write the command pack env fetch dash dash xml and paste the fetch XML. So this is the fetch XML which I have pasted. And now if I just press enter, then it will connect to the correct environment, and then it should return a result. Now what has happened is like when I copy pasted it copied the space characters as well. So you need to be very mindful that if you are copying something, just copy it properly. So I'll just copy it from here. So I'll just copy this, Control C, and now again come here. And now if I just say pack env fetch dash dash xml and run this. Okay, now it has copied it correctly. Now see what happens. It will see whether it returns a result or not. Now if you run this, it will still not return a result. Now why it has not written a result is because this is pointing to a Girish prod environment, and the code which you have copied is coming from some different environment. Okay, so this one is coming from your Girish dev environment. Now it will not work. So you need to go into say specific environment, say Girish prod over here. Okay, select the correct environment and pick up any table. So if I pick up say maybe a custom table over here, and if I pick an airlines table. Okay, now in the airlines table, if you have a model driven app created, then you can generate those. So let me go into over here, and let me pick up some table which has that fetch XML code. So I'll go to airlines app, and then this is like belonging to the prod environment. Again, I'll go here, manage and share views, and I'll copy the fetch XML. So I'll say active airlines, download fetch XML. Now I'm doing that same process again. I'll open this, and I'll just say open with edit in notepad, and I'll say Control H, find what double quotes, replace with single quotes, and I'll say replace all. Now it has done the magic. Okay, now as I mentioned to you, just enclose this in a double quotes. So I'm just enclosing the fetch statement in a double quotes, copy it, and then go to your command line. Now let's clear this result and say pack env fetch dash dash xml, and then paste your fetch XML, and now press enter. Now it is connected to the right environment, which is Girish prod, and now it will give you the complete result outputted. So what we have done, we have run the fetch XML command, we have copied the fetch XML command, formatted it a bit, and then executed it. Okay, now on a similar terms, what we can do is like if you do not want to run it inline, the other option is you can say if you have a fetch XML. So example, so let me close this all, and let me do one thing. Let me again go back and download the fetch XML. For now, this time I'll download for here again. Now this is fetch XML2. I'll just keep it, and this time This is just a file, okay? Fetch XML2. I'll call this as say girish.xml. Okay. Now I'm not editing this file. I'll just put it in say C drive. Okay. So I'll just put it in C drive. So, okay. And here, if I go to the command line, I'll say now the command is a bit different for this pack env fetch dash dash xml file, and then you need to specify the path. Now what is the path? It's c colon slash, and then the name is, I believe, girish.xml. Now if you have proper rights, then it will connect to that xml file, execute that fetch xml, and then it will return you the result. Now this has done the same thing. The difference between the first command and the second command is, in first command you are putting it in line, the fetch xml is in line, but in the second command the fetch xml is pointing to a separate file which is located in your C drive. So like this you can execute this command. So that's it, folks. This is all about pack env command. This command is basically used to iterate, get information from your Dataverse environment. Thanks for watching.